Hey guys, Aries here, and I'm gonna make a video talking about carrying past gold into, platinum, diamond, or even higher. Um, because I see a lot of people are asking things like this, like, I've carried to gold and now I seem to have hit a roadblock. And this can occur for a couple of reasons. Um, One of the biggest things are people aren't really sure how they should be playing to improve, things they should be looking at, etc. And also they may have picked up some bad habits along the way carrying through bronze, silver, and gold. So I'm assuming this is like a player mid-gold to high gold who just can't seem to get into platinum. Um, so one of the biggest things that stop people from getting out of gold is they've gotten to gold by winning lane super hard, being able to get like a 5,000 gold lead, 2 items up on their laning opponent, and they're able to roam around and just kill everything and carry the game from there. Just the super aggressive, snowbally sort of gameplay, and they don't know how to win a game when even or behind, or they aren't used to killing people or playing or laning against players who are more skilled than them. So they might not, get like 5-0 out of lane, or they might not be able to kill their laning opponent, or they might die to a dive that they would normally win if they were playing against a low gold or a silver player. Likewise, I have said before that getting out of silver is pretty easy because all you have to do is split push all day. Maybe someone did that and now they got to gold and it was working for most of the time, but now that they're playing against people who are a little bit smarter at the game and can properly respond to a split pusher, some of these things aren't working. So I guess the first thing to do as a player who's running into these problems is be able to address that, and be able to, I guess, see that, observe it in their own play, that maybe they shouldn't be trying to do these things because they're not working most of the time. So really, the biggest thing for a gold player is, that I would say to a gold player to try and climb, is cut back on the aggression. You don't have to go ham all the time in every single game. Sometimes it's better to play a little defensively and pick your fights. So the more generalized thing is, most of the time, if you ask a stronger player, they would say, just practice on farming more, practice on, not wasting as much time, like specifically for junglers. If you're a gold jungler and then someone stronger than you would watch your game, they would say you're wasting a lot of time. Look here, you tried to go for this gank that actually didn't work, so you ended up wasting 30 to 40 seconds of jungle farm time, and you would have been a level up. You would have had like 200 extra gold, and that stuff adds up throughout a game. And then for like a laner, it would be, you're not farming right now. You could be 20 CS up. Maybe you should practice that. Well, that's good and everything. That's not the best approach to being able to improve as a player and being able to climb. And the biggest thing here is that there's a difference between being a skilled player and being a skilled laner. So, and it can be, I guess, related to guitar or soccer or something like that, where in music, yeah, you can practice scales all day, but that does not necessarily mean you're a good performer. So if you want to perform better, you shouldn't be practicing scales if you're already a talented musician. So maybe you should practice performing instead of practicing your instrument, or like practicing scales, because maybe your proficiency at that is already good enough that you don't need to practice that to be a better performer. Likewise for laning. Maybe your laning's fine, that you don't need to practice that. Maybe you just need to practice the overall game. And this is what I refer to as game sense. So, laning versus, I'll call it map knowledge. So just because you're a good laner doesn't necessarily mean you know when to take dragon. Just because you're a good laner doesn't mean you necessarily know when you should split push, when you should group, when you should fight, when you should take a tower. Yes, okay, I can get 100 CS at 10 minutes every single game I play, but does that mean I know how to play when my bot lane's feeding? So it's those kind of examples. So Yeah, your mechanics might be good, but mechanics aren't the most important thing to carry these kinds of games. So having a good map knowledge, having good map awareness, having good, I guess, crisis management. So if you see that someone's getting ganked as a mid laner, how should you respond to that? And these are the kinds of things, they're the more macroscopic things that will allow you to carry more games and improve faster in solo queue, and I guess as a player. So, and then I guess if you watch, like the Rain Pony or any other diamond or higher level player, you'll notice that they do different things throughout any sort of occurrence in the game than a gold or lower player. So if, Rain Pony, he's a mid laner, now he used to be an ADC in top lane, but you notice that the way he reacts to a jungle, the enemy jungler appearing bot lane, is a lot different than someone mid or lower level would react to that. And because of that, he's able to get more kills, he's able to save his bot lane from feeding. Maybe he saves a tower, maybe he gets a little more farm, maybe he secures a dragon. And it's just those more macroscopic rotational sort of decisions that will allow you to carry harder. I'm trying to think of more examples, but this goes past standard mechanics. So the first thing you'd want to do is base. I'll call them base level mechanics. So these are the things that you should be able to do up to gold. So I'll just put this at a reasonable farm. So this would be I'd say 60 to 80 at 10, and then around 150 at 20 minutes. So these are things that you would want to hit. It doesn't really matter if you hit these or if you're above these, if the other areas of your play are good. The most important thing, though, I'm actually going to put this above the whole reasonable farm thing, is proper builds. So this is one of the most important things, in my opinion, is building properly, knowing when to build for your team, knowing when to build for yourself, reactively building against your opponents. Like this is really important. And then after proper builds, I would put vision. So this is swapping for sweepers and buying wards. So I don't care who you are, what you're playing, where you're playing. Swap out your trinket for a sweeper in mid game if you notice no one else has it. If you only have one or two sweepers, still swap it out. If you're a split pusher, you can keep your warding totem, but most of the time you're going to be swapping out for a sweeper, and just buy wards. Whenever you recall, buy a ward and 2 health potions. And this is another thing. So just keep 1 ward and 2 times HP potions on you at all times. I don't care what you're doing, unless you go back, you get an Infinity Edge as Caitlyn or something like that, and you don't have time to wait for 130 gold. So you only, you go back, maybe you have 30 gold after the Infinity Edge, wait for the potion, get the potion, go back to lane. So at no point in time should you never have at least 1 potion on you. This is 150, and this is 150 effective HP. So what this means is in the middle of a fight, or at the beginning of a fight, as soon as you get hit, you know that there's going to be trading in a fight going on, where you might get ganked or something like that, or if it's a mid-game team fight. Right when you take damage, you pop that health potion, and then say you live with 70 HP at the end of the fight. Now, if the health potion has been giving you HP and working for at least half of its duration, well, health potion heals for 150. That means it's healed you for equal to or more than 75 HP. That means if you didn't use that health potion, you would have died. So these are the important things. So and then always have a ward on you. If you can't afford a ward, get the health potions. But most of the time you can wait. You get 19 gold, 19 gold every 10 seconds. I think that's how it works. So you can wait 10 seconds to get another health potion if you need to. So there's no reason you shouldn't be leaving like that. And yeah, so these are basically the things you should be able to do. Just straight up, these 4 things should be enough to carry you to gold. So then after gold, the things that you should be looking at are, when do I fight? When do I recall? And recall timings are pretty important. How often do I recall? When do I recall? When do I group with my team? When do I split push? So these are things that you should be asking yourself throughout your games. And I guess I'll just put it down as questions. So these are things that you should be asking yourself every single game, because these are the common occurrences in every game. So it's, when do I recall? And this is when LOL replay or something like that, or like recording your games, or streaming, that sort of thing. This is when it comes in handy, because you can review your games. Also, what I would recommend doing is actually recording your games or streaming, because then you can actually, if you've seen some of my the games that I commentate as I play it, I'm basically talking about what I'm thinking and the reasoning for the decisions I make, and that's really useful because now I can go back and watch those and see, like, was I thinking correct? So, when do I recall? How often do I recall? When do I group? When do I split push? So this is, the same thing as when do I group. It's the opposite of it. When do I split push? I guess another useful thing is, how do I ping? And do I talk? So, in solo queue, I would recommend muting your entire team and never talking. Or, not muting them and just never talking. Just don't talk. Speak with pings. But one of the useful things is, don't be toxic by any means. Don't flame anyone, anything like that. Always, whenever you type, it's always kind of prompted on, what do I need to do next to win the game? And this is one of the most important things. Always think like 2 or 3 steps ahead in 30-second intervals. So know what you're going to be doing for the next 2 minutes. And this is really important. This can get you good at rotations. This will be like, okay, dragon spawning in 4 minutes. What can I do in 2 minutes? I'll know that at the end of the 2 minutes I'll have to set up for dragon. And then how can you set that up? And I've talked about this in other videos, some of the warding videos, some of the other just standard rotation videos that you can go back and watch. But if you want to talk, you can type in paragraphs, but it should always be, okay, dragon's coming up in this amount of time. You go do this, you go do that, you go do this, and then let's group on dragon. So you want to be typing like that, not just ward up. Like, you want to be very specific when you're talking to your team, because you don't know if other people are approaching the game like you and they might misinterpret what you're saying. So it's always about idiot-proofing your games, and then pinging, very useful. Don't just use the standard ping, the G. Use V. Use the help ping. That's something I find I don't use a lot. I don't typically use the help ping, but pings are very useful. If you're a jungler, always ping like, I'm on my way, right before it, and then ping the enemy to tell your laner to start the fight. And then if he's not going in, feel free to spam ping. If you are pushing a lane, or if you're split pushing, you want someone else to do that. Don't be afraid to spam ping. Like, if you're split pushing, you want your team to push mid, spam ping the mid tower. You can spam ping. It will make sure that your team knows what's urgent. And this is also urgency versus, size. So you want to play urgent moves over big moves. Big moves are the ones that will profit the most, but urgent moves are the ones that you need to respond to. So a big move would be killing 4 people on the enemy team. An urgent move would be going back and preventing their top laner from pushing your inhibitor. So urgency over size, I guess, is how you would want to look at that. And again, it's more of the if instance A, do I want decision A or B? Or I guess instance 1, do I want A or B? Instance 2, do I want A or B? And being able to determine how you should move, when you should do it, different things like that, how you should be reacting to common occurrences. And you'll notice that these are, the way you do the way you react to some of these would be different than the way a Diamond player would react to them. And if you've watched Dyrus' stream, I'm not sure if he still talks about this, but a while ago he said, back when it was the whole Renekton Shyvana meta, he would do teleport ganks and he'd say he doesn't care about his top tower because it's solo queue. He would rather have his team not fall behind, and he'd rather make plays across the map and get the rest of his team snowballed rather than save his tower. And he'd basically say this is like a solo queue only thing. If it was more of a competitive game, like in LCS or something like that, he would much rather keep the tower. So, don't really think like, win lane, win game, because there are more important things that you can be doing with your time than just making sure that you don't lose 500 HP on your tower. So until the tower is absolutely dead, you can sacrifice the HP on it to go and make a play. It's also like teleport plays. So don't hold your teleport if a fight's breaking out, just use it. That's like the exhaust thing. And yeah, so I've been rambling on for a bit, but the big idea here is don't worry about your laning phase. Don't worry about all these very specific mechanical attributes to the game. Yeah, you can be like, and as example, I've been practicing Caitlyn in Vayne lately, and I never cancel autos anymore. So my stutter stepping, my orb walking, whatever you want to call it, is very, very good right now. My CS is extremely good. My teamfight mechanics are very good. But just because I never cancel an auto doesn't mean I know when I should rotate mid. So maybe rotating mid, or knowing when or when not to rotate mid, will give me a better chance of winning more of my games than never canceling auto attacks. So it's being able to recognize what are the more important things to work on and actually working on those. So yeah, so that's it for this video. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check out the links below, and thanks for watching.